the nation's capital right now on veteran services, veterans benefits, veterans programs, felt across the country really, but especially acutely here in the San Diego region. For those of you who may not know me yet, let me introduce myself. I'm Alex Padilla, proud to serve as your United States Senator, one of your 2 United States Senators. And I want to begin by thanking the city of Del Mar for their gracious hospitality. And just to say, this is a pretty beautiful city council chambers. I want to thank my colleague and my friend, Congressman Mike Levin. We're in his district right now, and he's been a champion. We'll talk about some of the joint legislative efforts that we've been working on for a few years now during the course of the program. But I do also want to acknowledge and introduce Ray Flores and David Estrella from the County of San Diego, who you'll be hearing from in just a few minutes. Maria Sitman and Phil Heltzma from the Veterans Medical Research Foundation, and Ian Foley, a vet, right, who will really drive home what this is all about for not just himself, but veterans across California and throughout the country. So let me just begin by saying that first and foremost, we are here to support our veterans. They deserve to hear that it's not just some folks proposing cuts and rollbacks in Washington, D.C., but that there's a lot of members in Congress, particularly on our side of the aisle, the Democratic side of the aisle, that are fighting to preserve their benefits. We need to be investing more in our veterans, supporting our veterans more, not less. And so we want to make sure that that message is heard loudly and clearly. In 2024, we know that the Department of Veterans Affairs delivered a record number of healthcare appointments and benefits. Just a couple of statistics, over 127 million appointments. Now, each one of those is very important. Nearly 800,000 new enrollees since the PACT Act was signed into law. We're both proud supporters of the PACT Act, one of the greatest expansions and increases in earned veterans benefits that we've had in decades in this country. And these are pretty big numbers, right? The number of new enrollees, the number of appointments, because the demand on VA services is so high. The needs that veterans have on these services and support is so high. Yet despite us all knowing that and saying the right things to for those who served in the armed forces, who were willing to sacrifice so much, the Trump administration has proposed massive cuts to the VA and VA staffing in particular. They're proposing cutting 80,000 federal workers from the VA, in addition to the thousands that have already been let go. 80,000. Just to give you a sense, I know I'm in San Diego, and this is Padres territory. If you build Petco Park twice, you're talking about 80,000 people. Imagine filling Petco Park twice, every seat in Petco, and then telling everybody you're fired. That's what the Trump administration has called for. And a good chunk of those employees at the VA, by the way, are veterans themselves. So it's double the insult to injury when you talk about reducing support, reducing services and care, and taking away their jobs and their livelihood. So it's not hard to see why our offices have been getting so many calls, so many emails, so many people coming in worried that their care is going to be impacted. And whether it's to the VA, to the NIH research funding that I'm sure you've heard about, or the firing of workers that make actual care to the VA possible, we should be doing more for our veterans, not less. And that's why we're here today. Not just to point at the administration, to Donald Trump and Elon Musk and all the folks there that are putting veterans care at risk, but to promote some of the proactive work that we are doing. Not just opposing benefits and calling for more, not just opposing cuts, but calling for more investments in benefits, reminding everybody that when it comes to VA benefits, these are not handouts. This is not charity. These are benefits that veterans have earned through their service. Another example, just last week I worked with a bipartisan group, emphasized bipartisan group of senators to introduce the Housing Unhoused Disabled Veterans Act, to make it easier for disabled veterans to receive rental assistance and to access housing. Congressman Levin's been carrying the bill on the House side and championing it for some time now as well. And so we're going to do that. We're going to continue to work to defend the PACT Act benefits they worked so hard to achieve, and hundreds of thousands of now VA eligible veterans for those benefits, and to help veterans access higher quality education. But more than anything, I want to underscore again that there should be a sense of outrage for our colleagues across the aisle and for the Trump administration for all these cruel attacks on veterans and the services and the support that they need. So with that, let me close my opening remarks and ask my friend and colleague, Congressman Mike Levin, for some opening remarks, and then we'll continue with the program.
Well, thank you so much.